Well.
So the Mario movie finally came out.
I've been waiting for this.
It's been forever since the last time Hollywood properly tried. While I do have a soft spot for the original Mario movie, it's exactly like one of those AI wouldve character but in live action prompts turned reality. And video game adaptations have a not so good track record in general. To say the least, I had slightly less interest when the voice cast was revealed. Oh, I will get to that in this video. But I'm so checked out of modern entertainment, I genuinely cannot remember the last time I was actually hyped for a movie of all things. Well, I can, but I'd rather not talk about it. And you know what? I like the Sonic movies despite their flaws, so I decided to give Mario a shot despite being more of a Sega fan than Nintendrone. I have some passing knowledge of Mario lore, so I'm interested to see how they would incorporate it into the movie to tell a story. So let's review this thing.
Hey, Mario! Look what I made! It's a stone, Luigi.
As you know, it's made by Illumination, who has to be the most popular average animation studio out there. I don't really like their stuff, but I mean, I don't feel strongly about them in general. They have never really hit the same high as Disney, Pixar, or DreamWorks at their peak, while also not really being at the bottom of the barrel in terms of quality like modern Disney. The first Despicable Me was alright, I guess, but I don't care about their other stuff, especially the Yellow Bean Redditor Rabbits. Speaking of Reddit, you have, for directing, Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelnick, whatever, who both spawned Teen Titans God No, a show that is like Kid Family Guy but somehow even less funny. I do not like it at all, and it might have killed a sizable amount of Cartoon Network's viewership. Then again, who still watches cable anyway? For the screenplay, it's written by Matthew Fogel. He also wrote for Lego Movie 2, which I didn't see, but I really did love the first movie, even though I heard that the second isn't as good. I was more worried about the Teen Titan Go directors involved in this, and whether or not we would have Mario and Luigi twerking or some gay shit. The humor of that show is just so bad. But anyway, let's do a movie recap. Spoilers ahead, you've been warned.
Hey, Mario! Look what I made! It's a stone, Luigi.
Movie opens with the big bad Bowser and his army going up against the Penguin army, who easily lose, and Bowser gets what he wants, which is a power star that he's been searching for. So right away I have an issue. Now in the games there is obviously more than one star, but the movie just goes with one existing, I guess. They never really tell you that, nor do they explain why that would be the case. They also don't explain the different kingdoms, so why the penguins had the star is just because they just had it. It's just a reference to a thing from the games, and the movie just assumes you know how all of this works in the context of the film, which is a reoccurring problem. Yes, I know what the power star is in the games, but what is the importance, context, purpose, and all of that in the movie format? Jeez, this is just the opening, but I'm saying all of this now because the star is just not important past this point. After that, we start with a commercial for Mario and Luigi's plumbing business, with the Super Mario Bros. Super Show intro playing. I'll admit, I did smile a little bit when I heard this. I love everything about it, especially the voices Chris and Charlie do here, which I think they are actually pretty good. I would have preferred they talk like that the whole movie, but I understand the voice probably isn't good for the serious moments, but man, it sounds so much closer to the real thing than the generic, unmemorable voices they do afterwards. Speaking of that, Charles Martinet makes a cameo as Jumpman. Glad they at least included him, even if he isn't voicing Mario in the Mario movie. We get a Wrecking Crew reference with 4-Man Spike being here, and he's a complete ass to the brothers. He was their former boss until they left to make their own company. I like his voice and his interaction with Mario and Luigi, but too bad he just pisses off until a brief moment of screen time at the end. They finally get a call to fix a leaky pipe, but their van is broke down, so they decide to run for it. It's a pretty neat scene here of Mario running through the construction site like a side-scroller, while Luigi struggles to carry the supplies, showing us how acrobatic Mario is, which we could infer maybe came from his former job with Spike. The next scene I don't like at all, because it's one of those scenes where a problem is easily solvable, gets solved, but something random happens that makes the situation worse. Not inherently bad, it's just frustrating to watch. Mario and Luigi fix the pipe, but the dog who has a bone to pick with Luigi because he accidentally stepped on one of his dog bone treats starts attacking them, causing them to ruin the whole bathroom. It's one of those scenarios that they think kids will find funny, but even as a kid I hated these type of scenes and still do. I was not expecting to see Mario and Luigi's relatives or the fact that they still live with them. The scene is a downer though, with them just ragging on the brothers' new business to the point Mario just walks off because of his dad saying that he is bringing Luigi down with him. Too bad this potential for conflict is just not explored at all in the narrative. Then we get Mario playing Kid Icarus on his NES, but in a way this scene is kind of relatable. You know you have something you're super passionate about that your parents don't get and might even put you down for even trying it, so you indulge in some escapism to take your mind off things. However, this doesn't last long because for some reason the pipes in Brooklyn are damaged, and so Mario and Luigi decide it's up to them to fix this. They fail trying to fix the broken valve, leading them into some underground area where they get the good suck through a pipe. However, they get separated and Mario finally ends up in the Mario world we've been all waiting to see. My problem with all of this is there's no explanation for how the Mushroom Kingdom world and the Brooklyn real world are connected ever given, and the fact there are multiple pipes that do this, so surely other people have to have stumbled upon this at some point, but the movie just has no time to play with that idea because we have to move on to the next reference and set piece. I should tell you, this is the point where I feel like the writing becomes even more sloppy and rushed, with things just happening with little to no proper explanation, setup, or just being explained through it's a reference. Mario meets with Toad and tells him his prince is in another castle, Bowser territory to be exact, so he'll take him to Princess Peach because she can do anything. I know that line was meant to be comedic and exaggeratory, but I still rolled my eyes. I honestly feel like these scenes with Mario and Luigi basically bumbling about until they finally reach the place where they need to be could have been way more condensed. Just have Mario's warp pipe take him to the lower area of Mushroom Kingdom where he bumps into random toads, then meets the toad that leads him around. Or if you really want to speed things up, then have him warp to Peach Castle like Mario 64, but the guards take Mario as a prisoner. As for Luigi, they could have simply hard cut to him running from Dry Bones and ending up in the castle with the Shy Guys, instead of dragging the chase out just to throw in a Luigi's Mansion reference. Toad showing Mario around was at least a nice scene, giving us a little world building for how Toads go about their day to day and how they get around the kingdom. I should also mention I like Toad's voice, which is a pleasant surprise because I was expecting him to be super annoying, but honestly he's alright. Peach gets introduced in a war room scene talking about Bowser and getting help of the Kongs to beat Bowser's army because Toads are just absolutely useless, and for some reason Mushroom Kingdom just doesn't have any first line of defense for stuff like this. Peach voice doesn't at all sound like how you would imagine Peach would sound. It's just generic woman voice with this undertone of snarkiness to it that makes it sound like she's constantly correcting me on something I did wrong. But finally Mario and Peach meet, with her just karate slamming him into the ground. They could have just had Mario stop in front of Peach and then the Toad guards instantly tackle him, but they just couldn't help themselves. Mario then gets made fun of for being a manlet and Peach is shocked to see another human. Again, I don't buy that no other humans could have not stumbled into one of the many random pipes leading to here, but whatever. Somehow Mario manages to convince Peach to agree to helping him save his brother, yet first she tests him on a course and then she goes first and does it completely perfectly, and even mentions she did it perfectly first try because of course she did. Peach then explains the power-ups, and I forgot to mention Mario hates mushrooms. I hate this gag. Ha ha ha, get it? The thing that's very prominent in this series Mario doesn't actually like. Mario is complete booty at the course, but when he does get the hang of it, he gets shat on again. Please script, just let him have one win. Meanwhile, Bowser, who now has the star, mentions his retarded plan of marrying Peach after supposed years of fighting. What were they fighting over, and how did the Mushroom Kingdom and its shit toads deal with that previously? Who cares? We don't have time for that. Oh, and if she rejects him, he destroys the Mushroom Kingdom. So why is Bowser even so in love with Peach? Because it's from the game, silly. Didn't we get an extremely cringe musical number of him singing about Peach? I do like Jack Black and his music, but this scene is just overkill. Peach gives us her backstory about being raised by toads. I find it hard to believe her fighting and acrobatic skills were taught by her fucking toads. Luigi is trapped in a chastity cage surrounded by a bunch of references, including this annoying ass Luma that Bowser somehow captured from space, and Luigi will remain there until the end of the movie. So much for Super Mario Bros movie. Mario, Peach, and Toad reach the Dong Kingdom. What I like about it is how the Kongs get around by using carts, but my likes for the Kongs stop there because they are all just annoying assholes, like Cranky, who is just a terrible character and his voice is grating. Mario then has to beat off the main dong himself, who is even worse because my god, his voice and maybe his personality is just Seth Rogen. It's just Seth Rogen's voice and I hate it. Just like Seth Rogen, he is a complete dick and not even remotely funny in any way. We get more of Mario being an absolute punching bag until Peach tells him to get a power up, which is the cat suit, because Mario just can't do anything without power-ups, and he wins, so the Kongs decide to help them. Then we get a Mario Kart reference. Bowser continues to be cringe. His army attacks Mario and friends on the Rainbow Road reference, and they easily capture the Kongs, so what was even the point of joining with them? Mario and DK get blown off course and swallowed by a giant fish, then start arguing again, but the fish just so happened to swallow DK's kart rocket, so they escape. What a pointless scene. Guess this was done to establish a connection between the two because their fathers think that they're both disappointments, but it's too late for characterization now. Meanwhile, Peach tells all the Toads to evacuate. Again, just how in the hell did they ever fight Bowser before all of this? And how does she not have any line of defense for an attack on her kingdom if she cares about the protection of Toads so much? Peach decides to go with the marriage after Bowser has comic magic missile Toad, because we can't just have Bowser forcibly kidnap Peach in current year. She basically has to consent to being a hostage. If it feels like I'm just blowing through scenes, well, that is because the movie's pacing and writing is doing a bunch of and then moments with little to nothing substantive worth dwelling on. Bowser brings out the prisoners to sacrifice for Peach at the wedding. Now with the wedding happening, you would think, okay, now Mario is gonna show up and save Peach just like in the games. Well, no, silly, it's current year. She saves herself, temporarily incapacitates Bowser, who just couldn't react fast enough to melt the ice, fights off his army, but then this weird contrived way to get her out of the ice power-up happens, where she lights up a spear, attacks King Babam for no reason, and then jumps directly near him. You can just feel that the writers wanted Peach to be the one to defeat Bowser and save everyone. Mario and DK meanwhile are just running up to Bowser's castle, and we get reference galore with the moves and power-ups used here, but it feels hollow because their dynamic has just been they hate each other. They make it in time to save everyone, but then Bowser gets pissed off from being cucked and sends out a bullet bill to destroy the evacuated Mushroom Kingdom. Mario upsets the sentient bullet bill by hitting it in the eye, then baits it into a warp pipe, which was very sus because what if that thing insta-warped to the spot him and Luigi came in and blew up Brooklyn? Well, that doesn't matter because the explosion was somehow enough to warp Bowser's entire floating kingdom into Brooklyn, which destroys it anyway. Don't think about the collateral damage and people who could have been killed. It's superhero vacant buildings logic. We get more of Mario being an absolute punching bag, but then Peach beats up the guards and tells Mario to get the star because she knows he can't do shit without power-ups. He gets saved by Luigi, who if you remember is also in this movie. They both activate the star, and now video game logic would have you believe the first to touch it is the only one who gets the power-up, but both of them have it anyway. Would have been nice to establish what the star actually did earlier, but fuck it, I guess. Bowser gets so long gay Bowsered, and for some reason Kamen Rider kick. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Kamen Rider, with Kamen Rider Kuga being my favorite, but this kick just felt out of place. Then Bowser gets shrinkage and everyone celebrates the end. I do wonder if Bowser could have just hit himself to get out of the power-up, but who cares, the movie is over.
Hey, Mario! Look what I made! It's a stone, Luigi!
My opinion on the story is that it's non-existent. It thinks just having unexplained references and going from set piece to set piece is enough. The pacing is atrociously fast and does not allow for any real breathing room or proper development of the characters and their dynamics. The MacGuffin Power Star really annoys me. Is it the only Power Star that exists? Don't know. If it just provides brief invulnerability, then why did Bowser even bother needing it when he is already so strong as is? What would him and Peach do with it after activating it? He made it sound like the effect was a permanent thing, but it's not. But who cares about that? It's a thing you recognize from the game, so please clap. Why are the other kingdoms so weak? Just how did Bowser ever lose or not already dominate over everyone with how pathetic every other army is compared to his? They could have had a serious war room scene with the penguins at the start where they talk about the Power Star, what it can do, if there is only one, if they are rare, etc., and what the ramifications are for the kingdoms if Bowser gets it right before Bowser shows up so the audience knows what the star is and does if he uses it. Maybe have the penguins put up an actual fight but they still lose. Play this scene dead seriously as contrast to when it switches to the Mario commercial. I could go on with fixes for things they could have done instead, but there's just no point. It's not gonna make reality less disappointing.
Hey, Mario, look what I made! It's a stone, Luigi.
I guess we might as well just finally talk about the characters because there's just no plot to dissect here. All the characters are somehow more shallow in one note than their video game counterparts who don't even talk in full sentences. Mario is just a punching bag throughout this entire movie. I'm surprised he hasn't completely fallen over and died from multiple internal injuries at the end, and more surprised Nintendo allowed him to get beaten up this much. He's useless without power-ups, plus his character is he just doesn't give up because he just doesn't, and he loves his brother. If I can pull something out of my ass for one moment, I guess him never giving up is a reference to the player, or it's just the same generic template of the male hero who gets beaten up constantly and is only allowed to do something really competent at the end that Hollywood keeps abusing. And he doesn't like mushrooms because haha, get it, there's a lot of mushrooms in the Mario series. It's hilarious. I expected Mario to be way more competent like in the games, but they really went with this fish out of water story and making him never gives up generic shonen pro tag. Luigi gets the short end of the stick by essentially swapping roles with Peach for the remainder of the movie until the end, which is such a waste because the best moments of the movie is when him and Mario are on screen together. Personality is actually a lot closer to what you expect. He is cowardly even though the stuff he is afraid of I think anybody else would be in his situation, but is willing to be brave when a lot is at risk like his brother. The biggest sin here is the lack of screen time and development with Mario he gets in this Super Mario Bros movie. Toad is alright, although he fades into the background later on. I'm just glad they didn't turn him or others into minions who only yell and make annoying noises. Bowser honestly should have had the simping aspect of his personality removed or toned down, because when he tries to be intimidating he's good and fun to watch. I would rather they had put more focus on the world domination dictator aspect of him instead of the unfunny simping. Why does he even love Peach in this movie? Seriously, why? All he can say about her is basic superficial appearance stuff despite apparently years of them knowing each other. Considering this version of Peach, maybe they could have made it that Bowser is into her because of her commanding personality. Make her diplomatic and ruthless and that just turns Bowser on, or just anything. Speaking of Princess Peach, she is the least like her game counterpart who is more classic damsel in distress, capable yet still girly and ladylike even when she does fight. This Peach is just a boss girl, a not your typical princess type we've seen a million times before, but I of course expected her to be turned into this when a Western studio was announced to be involved. At this point, a damsel in distress princess would be a very subversive thing to do in modern day. She wasn't as AIDS as she could have been, but I'm just tired of seeing this archetype, and because of this, her role in the story was swapped with Luigi. Plus, there isn't even one scene where Mario directly saves her. For some reason, certain people I'm not gonna name because I don't want people to think there is some e-celeb beef going on, who are like gaslighting that Peach was always exactly like this, and well, no, she wasn't. Miyamoto even unintentionally admits as such in his PR statement you shouldn't take seriously that gets reposted. Man had like over 40 something years to make the character like this and never did. People also bring up games like Super Princess Peach, a game where she uses her emotions like sad crying as a power-up, a talking umbrella to attack, not a halberd. She does a cute girly run where she picks up part of her dress. I seriously don't think people bringing this up have played the game. Even in Smash, she uses a toad as a shield, a parasol, a vegetable, and her fat dumpy to attack. Peach is supposed to be the cute, capable, feminine type of princess you want to protect. Movie Peach is boring and bland, and seems like the type who wouldn't even bake a cake for Mario because that would reinforce traditional stereotypical gender roles. Donkey Kong should have not been in this movie, but Donkey Kong to me should have been way more laid back and cocky while also being forgiving, only really going bananas if you piss him off, yet they just have him be a dick and nothing more. The best thing about the movie is the visuals. It actually for the most part looks like the game it's based on, which is extremely hard for Hollywood to do for some reason. The character designs look kind of off to me, but that's probably because I'm so used to the Nintendo renders. Bowser, the enemies, and Toad look perfect. Peach, however, looks like one of those crappy Western 3D porn renders with realistic hair strands. You know the ones. Instead of her actual model, Donkey Kong looks slightly more humanoid and taller to me. Mario and Luigi look the same, but I think it's the more realistic detailing, like on their clothes, that's throwing me off. I like how the humans are actually cartoony looking instead of the realistic ones like in New Donk City. Besides my nitpicks, ultimately the movie looks extremely fantastic. What isn't fantastic is the music selection. The actual Mario music when it's used is 10 out of 10, but holy hell, the licensed music whenever songs that sound like something an early 2000s movie would use were playing. I seriously thought that 4chan meme post about how Party Rock Anthem or TikTok by Kesha playing during the movie would be a reality. What were they thinking with this music selection? Is it to appeal to the parents or something? Mario music is one of the, if not the most iconic music to exist in video games. The fact that I would say it's underutilized in this movie is just insane to me. Lastly, performances. Key as Toad is probably the best one. Jack Black as Bowser was good, outside of some cringe moments here and there. Charlie Day as Luigi worked, but Chris as Mario and Anna as Peach just sounded too generic for my liking. Not the worst, but just bland compared to the OG voices for these two. I completely hate Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong because they just told him to do his normal stoner voice. He is the worst one, and Armisen as Cranky I didn't like either. Completely random, but am I the only one who imagines comic sounding like Gilbert Godfrey? He just looks like the type of character who would sound like that.
Hey, Mario, look what I made! It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
Visually nice to look at, but it's very shallow and unimaginative in terms of writing and characters, mostly just relying on references to carry it from set piece to set piece. If you can look past the initial wow factor of a new Mario movie being out, it has nothing to offer and is no better than Ready Player One or Pixels. It's just the same as Illumination's other bland movies, except people might actually remember this one because it has Mario's name in the title. What's disappointing about this is I've seen people unironically pull the "it's for kids" argument for criticism aimed at the movie in the year of our Lord and Savior. Again, I won't name names, but certain people who criticize a certain other company making stuff for kids who do the same low effort member berries thing with little to no care for other elements of storytelling unironically use this as an argument, or it's just a video game movie. Nintendo has always been for all ages, and they are very much capable of telling good stories. Granted, this is by Illumination. I don't know what Miyamoto or anyone else at Nintendo were even doing behind the scenes. I feel it's really lazy to just imply they couldn't have done better than this. They could have made this a Mario vs Donkey Kong movie like many other people have said, with Luigi, Peach, and Bowser being sequel bait, or this one idea I read with Mario, Luigi, and Daisy, where it's like a partial nod to the OG Mario movie, with them having to save both Brooklyn and the Mario world with Peach in it. There was just so many ideas I've seen posted, and they went with such a bland one. You already have people talking about a possible cinematic universe because that is just what we need, is more attempts at that crap. First of all, the Mario movie is doing extremely well because it's Mario, the most popular video game character to ever exist. Doubt the others would even be as close to the success of this movie. Also, an entire DK movie of Seth Rogen's stoner voice? No thank you. Zelda and Pokemon are the only things that could come close. As much as I love Metroid, it would be a box office bomb, especially if it was live action and God forbid had Brie Larson. If they tried to bank off member berries for Metroid, only 2 people in the audience would get it. I hate how this image has Illumination doing all of this. My 3 favorite Nintendo franchises are Zelda, Pokemon, and Metroid. Out of those 3, I can only see see them doing Pokemon, but the other two, no way. Zelda is my favorite Nintendo IP. I can assure you I will be extremely more autistic if they were to make a Zelda movie. I would rather they give a Zelda movie to DreamWorks. If it had to be a notable Western animation studio, it would be interesting to have the company that got popular off of a subversive fantasy movie like Shrek do something more traditional like Zelda. It would at least be better written than anything Illumination does. Also, I'm bringing them up because I watched Puss in Boots and it's actually as good as people said it was. Going from that to the Mario movie gave me whiplash. But to wrap this video up, since they are making a sequel, I want it to be really good. I just want them to listen to actual criticism and not ignore it because of all the money flowing in. Put more effort into writing a good cohesive story first, not through ADHD tier pacing. Please, for the love of God, use actual Mario music. It's great. You don't need licensed music. Something I wish would happen but probably isn't is for them to tone down the simp energy for Bowser or just get rid of it and focus more on the evil dictator side of his personality. Make Peach more girly and ladylike while still being capable like in the games instead of this boring girl boss. Give Luigi more screen time, and hopefully Mario is as competent as he is in the games now that the origin story nonsense is over with and he isn't a punching bag anymore. I would rate this movie a 4 dude weed dongs out of 10. If you like the movie, then continue to like it. I just find it poorly written, paced, and overall unimaginative for a series like Mario. That's just my opinion, which ultimately doesn't matter. So I'll see you guys when I see you.
With a little piece of spaghetti on your overalls.
Fuck you, Luigi.